everybody ready now? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start. Try to keep up. Okay, so
if you have questions, once again, if you have like questions or you need something clarified or you're like falling behind, call like me or Sean. And
or me, I guess,
or
because we don't have that many people
today.
We
don't have that many.
So we'll do our best to just put your hand up in the air. I'll make sure to try to take it at a reasonable pace, and I'll have places to stop where I think a lot of mistakes are going to happen, and we can clarify those. Okay. Hopefully everybody knows how to make a new part. Just go ahead and click File and New, or open up SolidWorks. You should see this. But instead of clicking Part this time, we're going to go ahead and click an assembly. So you can either double click or just click that, press OK. Cool. All right. Then you should get this automatic thing that says Begin Assembly. Okay. So I guess I should talk a little bit about this part of the SolidWorks or 3D modeling phase. So you have parts that you build individually, but then you need to go ahead and put them together, right? Like for example, if you're building a car engine, you're not just going to build it as one whole piece. Okay, that's for a couple reasons. One, it's really confusing, really hard, and two is because you want to be able to interchange things with ease. So say you move to a different type of material. So instead of changing. I mean, you can't even do that. So that's why we have assemblies, which are just separate parts put together. So first thing we did was the parts. So we built numerous parts. And now we're going to go ahead and put them together. And then if you look and you click New Part again, you see there's a third thing that's called Drawings, which is what we'll be going through the next SolidWorks training session. But for today, let's focus on assemblies. Okay, so obviously to build an assembly, you need the parts. So that's why the first thing that you see here is a list of possible parts you can do. Usually that list isn't very good, the one that it comes up with automatically. It just pulls from its cache. But you can go ahead and click Browse. Just follow what I do. I'll go slowly. So click Browse, and then navigate to the training rocket zip file. Okay, and you can. I think you should be able to go Shift all of them. All of them except the rocket itself. You're not going to assemble the rocket in the rocket. So
basically everything except the last two.
Everything except the last one. The rocket 2 isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, so everything except the rocket. Okay, go ahead and click Open. And I'm not sure. Yeah. And you can just keep pressing OK until you end up repeating parts. Okay, so if you do that, you should get some cluttered mess like this. Why not?
Seriously.
Yeah, it's not even coming. Okay, does anybody have any issues with that? What?
How do I get the rocket in here?
Huh?
How do I get the rocket bug?
Oh my god, you clicked rocket.
I just pressed this. I pressed it.
Okay, does everybody have the parts? Yes. Anybody not have the parts? Okay, moving on. So, the way these assemblies work is the first part you insert is the one that's fixed. So, I realized that what we just did might not be very ideal in this situation because I think the first part I inserted was a centering ring, which is a terrible base mark part to start with, but it's okay. We'll work through this. It doesn't really change much except like it's a little bit harder to do things initially, but you can fix that later, okay? So any ideas on like the part we should be basing it off of? Something centralized, something that most things are connected to, or will extend to connected to. Like obviously, we all kind of laughed at centering ring, right? Because centering ring isn't the best thing to use. So any ideas on what would be better? Pinch.
The main body tube.
Okay, let's use the main body tube. So go ahead and use this one. So based on how your parts were loaded. If this was the first one you entered, you're not going to be able to move it, okay? This is the gray body tube without the slits. That's okay if you can't move it. That's actually the best thing. But for most of us, this will be the one, you can move this one.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
Wow.
so the way we're going to assemble it is we're going to have a coupler connecting the gray tube with the carbon fiber tube. Okay, and the coupler is a blue piece you have. So I can try to make nice colors so we can tell the difference. Okay, so we're gonna. Okay, so now that we have our parts, we need to go ahead and assemble them. Okay, so when you assemble them, you essentially need to give SolidWorks instructions on how to put them together and how to know how they fit together. So a very common, what we call our mates, those are those instructions. We call them mates, and they're going to be located in your top left of the screen. So instead of the usual features you see for parts, now you're going to see these. So you see mate is here, insert components here. So if you realize you're missing a component or something, you just go ahead and click insert components, and it'll bring us to the same thing that we saw before. But we're done with that. So I'm going to hit cancel. Now we have mate. And so yeah, it has a good definition. Positions two components relative to one another. Okay, and that's pretty much how we're going to be assembling this entire piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit mate. All right, and now it'll show you this nice little, I guess, panel where you can do a couple of things. So the first box, okay, that's highlighted blue, it wants two things, okay, that you mate together, and that's pretty much all. You're only going to be able to enter two because it positions two components relative to one another. Okay. Then if you go lower, so in this area you have your standard mates, which is all we will be using for today. Standard mates are just things that are coincident. That pretty much just means they're on the same plane or they're touching. Parallel, pretty self-explanatory. Perpendicular, also self-explanatory. Tangent, also self-explanatory. Concentric, when you put two circles, you match up their centers, okay? And then lock is something you don't want to be using. Okay, lock is essentially a cheat where you just move something that looks about right, then you press lock and it's just locked in place, okay?
Don't use it.
Don't use it. There has to be a better way to do it, okay? Then you have a distance mate, so that's, instead of a coincident is like a distance of 0 apart. It's the same thing except now you can choose what distance you want. Then you have an angle mate, so instead of having it parallel or perpendicular, you can say, oh, I want them to be 30 degrees relative to one another. Okay, and now on the bottom you have advanced mates. I'm not going to go over them. Mechanical mates. So advanced mates are just a more advanced way of putting things together. Mechanical mates are actually really cool, and hopefully we'll be doing some of that later this year. I just want to go over it real quick. It's like mechanisms. So if you have like a slider or something, or you have like a ribs and struts, and you pull it up, everything moves up together. It's really cool. So essentially like a working umbrella. You could see if you made it correctly. And I can actually post a video. I've made a couple of parts using that so you guys can see how that works. Anyway, not going to be using any of that today, so feel free to forget what I just said. But okay, standard mates. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the main tube and the coupler tube are concentric, okay? And the easiest way to do that is you can go ahead and select the outside face of the coupler tube or the main tube. Order doesn't usually matter here. So I selected the coupler tube. It'll actually tell you exactly what you selected. So sometimes you'll try to select an edge or a face and you won't know what you did. You can just go ahead and look at your blue box and it'll tell you what you selected. So in this case, I selected a face, and you can see it becomes kind of translucent, which means you can't make something to yourself, right? So it means you can no longer select this. So that also tells you, visually what it is. So then you can just go ahead and select the outside or the inside tube of the main tube, and wow, nice. It automatically picked a constraint for me that it thought would be best suited. Okay, so it actually should have done this for all of you if you picked it right. It should have automatically went to concentric. But I can do other things such as, I want them to be parallel, perpendicular, tangent. But again, in this case, we want them to be concentric, okay? So we just hit concentric and we hit OK. All right, we'll stop here. Anybody having issues with this?
Make sure you guys are mating the small blue coupler to the gray body or the gray or black. Black.
Great, great.
No, it's black and a lot.
It's black in a lot of them. Did you change it?
Why?
Okay, alright, guys. Make the small blue coupler to the big tube that doesn't have slits on it.
So the black one.
Yeah, the black one.
Wait,
Okay.
what?
I have no idea. Oh wait, dude. It might not have the texture loaded on that or something.
Okay, wow, this is gonna suck. Alright, I can change my colors. So what do you guys have?
It's black carbon fiber.
And then do this one blue.
This one's blue
The
carbon fiber.
instruction?
Yeah, it should be. No, it should be.
Phase 1, phase 3, phase 3.
Oh.
You just don't have it.
What is that?
Well, now I did phase 4, and you're on phase 2. What did you do?
This is 7.
0.
It was not 0. 0 was part B. Part C. Tell me your
Okay.
So is this what everybody has?
Is that what it looks like now?
The other one is a little, the thin one was it's so dark.
Yeah, it looks the same on the computer. It just looks really funky on this.
Wait, I'll change.
Yo, Ilyas, how do you get it horizontal?
It doesn't matter, because basically it's all relative, right? So it doesn't really matter if it's horizontal or vertical.
Okay, hopefully this is good enough.
Yep. Okay.
You guys, you can kind of tell the difference. Okay, the lighter one is the one with the splits. We'll try to keep this.
Let's try that again.
All right, so anybody not get this make going?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll be there. So you should be able to do something like this. Okay, all of this should be able to move, but it should be in the same. Whoa. Yeah, concentric. All right. So raise your hand if you didn't get it.
You somehow had to select it, so I just cleared off the person. So yeah, if you try again.
Is this normal for you?
Yeah, you should.
Oh wait, I've always
Yeah, because remember, all you said is I want them to be the same sensor. They can have the same sensor all the way in.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah. Anybody else not?
Oh, there you go.
Also,
Oh, you had a block.
so everybody got this part so far? Okay, cool.
There we go. Yeah.
So this is a coupler tube. So we're gonna connect the black tube with no slits to the other color tube. I forgot what it is. With slits, okay? So we want the coupler to be half in our tube, or in the black tube currently, and then half in the other tube, okay? So the coupler tube is 12 inches long. So we want 6 inches of it in the black tube, okay? So we're gonna do that using a distance mate. So first thing I would recommend you doing is pulling them far apart, okay?
To do that, click on the coupler tube and just drag it.
Drag it out. And again, this is why you want one of the parts fixed, is so it doesn't move other degrees of freedom.
But if it's not, it doesn't matter.
It's okay, yeah. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and mate again. And this time we're gonna mate two faces, two faces together. So the first one, you have to get really close because these tubes are thin, okay? You're gonna select this face. Now, really important, I guarantee half of you selected a edge. But you can confirm that by looking right here. It should say face 1, or might be a different number for you. Actually, it shouldn't be because I made all these parts. So it should say face, add coupler to 1. Okay, if it says edge, that means you did it wrong. Clear your selections, which is you do by right-clicking, press clear selections, and then select it again, okay? So once you have that, make sure it says face, okay? Now you're gonna go ahead and rotate your component so you can see this side of the... All right, now you're gonna pick... I'm sorry about the colors. I didn't think this through. But you're gonna pick the corresponding face on the main tube with no slip, okay?
Click it and then zoom out.
Yeah, you should have 2, and then if you look again, it should have gone automatically to coincident, which in most cases is what we want. But again, we want half of our tube to go inside of the main tube, okay? So we're actually gonna hit the distance mate, okay? And it's gonna go back to its original distance. Is everybody here so far?
Did you select?
And then
Like,
select
take general to get inside?
No, you want to select the face. So like,
Oh, okay. So this.
yeah, but the face. You got the edge, please. You want to get the face.
Okay.
And then
So
zoom
make
in
sure
over
you clear
here.
that.
How do I?
You don't have to. Just if you wherever you put your mouse,
And then
that's
the
where you
same,
zoom.
the face of the other one.
So just put your
Okay,
mouse
so
over
once you
that.
get there, make sure you hit 6 inches, right? Because that's half. 12. All right. Okay, pay attention to this because this is
Wait, hold
confusing.
up. Slow down.
Okay.
People aren't ready.
All right.
You're supposed to mate.
I will hold
Basically,
on.
you want to not the edge. Okay. You want to mate the face over here. You see it too often. This face with the corresponding face on this, which you also mate.
Anybody not get this? Raise your hand. I can help out.
Okay, so
All right.
I think it's the computer.
yeah, the
though.
current
It's like-
computers.
It's just lagging a bit.
A bit. Yeah. See?
You might have to restart.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so great. Now we start again. Okay, yeah. Now, yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah. Now click the outer face on here. Not the outer face. Sorry.
Not the other.
Not the outer face. Right click. Okay, or you could do that.
Okay.
The outside, like zoom in, just the same face that we clicked on before. So zoom in on there.
And then the corresponding one on the black. Yeah. Face 1? Is that what it is?
Yeah, sure, that works.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You want
I
to
think.
zoom in a lot more. Or else
I
you're
think it's actually can't really tell. Let me double
Okay.
check.
right. You want to. No.
Face 2. Okay. I guess it's different on your part for some reason. Anyway. And then zoom out.
That'll zoom.
And then zoom in on the carbon fiber. And then you can kind of see the outline of this face. Click on that, yeah. Okay, now zoom out. Alright, now so it made it coincident, but we want it to have a distance mate. So click on distance over here. Yeah. And set it to 6 inches. Enter. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Well, when you hit distance, yeah, so that's the part you can go. Oh, okay.
Basically, you see that instead of being 6 inches inside, 6 inches outside. So the way you fix that is by hitting. Or you can, yeah. Actually, yes, distance is a scale. So you want to change this, right? So coincidence is basically a distance made where you distance is zero.
and the only mate that's
And we want this to be like 6 inches in. So
that's why.
this one, and you change it to 6 inches.
Rotate, yeah, so that's the middle
Cool. There you go.
Anybody else? Forgot to rotate. I guess I should have gone with that.
Oh.
Any other questions? Anybody not there still?
Get real close.
Okay. Okay, listen up. This is going to cause some confusion. So, go ahead and hit 6 inches. What do you guys notice? Right, it's 6 the other way, right?
Possibly, some of you guys.
Yeah, some of you
might. The right.
Right. So there's this nifty little function on the bottom that says flip dimension. If you flip it, it'll fix that for you. Anybody not get that part? Anybody? Okay.
Is everyone good so far? Anyone need assistance?
All right, you can go ahead and click OK. And then X automates. So now you should have something that looks like this, where you have half your coupler tube inside of your main tube. Just waiting for the people back there. Make sure you save your document. You can name it Rocket something else. If you save it as Rocket, it's going to over.
Does that mean if I want to rebuild before saving?
Yes.
What would that do?
It just makes sure that all the components are at its newest state. So if you're like editing components while you're in assembly and you don't rebuild, it's going to use the old ones. Cool, are we good? All right, moving on. So now we need to go ahead and make the other tube, which is blue for you guys, right? Okay, the blue one, connecting that to the black one, okay? So, yes. Keep in mind that you don't want to connect the slot side to the coupler side, right? Because the slots are going to be where the fins go in. So make sure when you're selecting this that the slots are on the opposite side. So in the previous one, it didn't matter because they were symmetric, but in this case, they're not, okay? So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. So first thing is going to be the same thing. You want to make sure that they're on the same center. So you can select the outside, and boom, it's going to do that. See right here, if you see, actually, okay, go ahead and press OK, and then you can drag out. I have my slot side here. Okay? So,
did you guys catch what he just did?
Yeah, did anybody not understand what I did? I just did the concentric mate like we did last time. Where
basically he selected the outside face of the dark tube, the outside face of the blue tube, and did a concentric mate on that.
Yeah, there you go.
Similar to what we did with the coupler.
What do we do if we turn the wrong way?
He'll get to that.
Right here.
Okay, so if your fins are the wrong way, it should look okay, you can't see, but you can see the outline a little. There's right there. Yep, thanks. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, if they're the wrong way. All right. So a way you can fix that is this nifty tool down here that says mate alignment. One of them should be selected, or none of them might be selected. You just have to click the opposite button, or just try. One of the two buttons should fix it. So in that case, I click the left one and it fixed it so it's the correct direction, okay? So the mate alignment button is what will flip your thing. Any questions on that?
Can't quite tell what's going on.
Here, let me
I
see.
think I made it the
So,
wrong thing. We're mating the.
so you actually have it the right way.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, looks like it.
Alright.
I mean, you can kind of just drag around the tubes to figure out like which way the fins are, and you can see that the fins are pointing like away from the coupler tube, and that's what we want.
Okay.
Yeah, so just put the plane.
Yeah. Oh, we just want. Yeah.
So right now, like, do you pick
And then,
No, hers looks like hers actually looks like that. Yeah. So yeah, yours. Yeah, you want the fin sauce to be sticking out. So SolidWorks is funky depending on the orientation of the parts when you paste them in at the beginning.
And then everything.
Carbon fiber. Yeah.
Okay, so you're seeing like your side Okay, so I see some people are having problems with the fact that everything's kind of moving in space.
You want to do like this,
So I'll give you a quick fix for that.
and you want to do this. And it looks like
You can right click on the black tube, okay, and you can go ahead and hit fix. Okay, that'll fix it in space. All right, now you can move it without having it interfere. Because it'll, I know, I'm kidding. Let's do that for now, and it'll cause problems, and I'll address why that causes problems later. But for now, it's
later.
fine.
It'll be a problem.
It'll be
later.
a problem later, not now.
the black tube can't move. It's already locked.
Well, it depends on.
Yeah, if your black tube doesn't move, that's good.
But if it does, right click, fix.
Yeah, just fix it.
For now.
For now. Yeah. Okay, is everybody there? Has everybody made their thing concentric? So you should just be able to go like this, but not any other direction. Just up and down. Or I guess side to side, depending on the type. Okay, so now this one's going to be easy. We don't have to do any distance mate. We're just going to do a coincident mate. Any ideas on what two faces we will be making coincident? Jacob?
The two inner edges.
Two inner edges.
I don't know what you call it.
Faces.
Two inner faces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the edge
Faces. So yeah, that's correct. Okay, so we're actually not going to have anything to do with the coupler here. So what we're going to do, we're going to hit mate, all right, and we're going to do the same thing we did for the coupler tube, except instead of distance, we're just going to let it keep it at coincident. Again, make sure you pick the faces. Okay, now you should have a tube that looks like this.
Well, what step did you just do? The face.
Are we just
coincident faces?
like two or like
Two. So it actually. So you want to do the top face on this one? Well, why not the coupler? Because like what face are we making? Yeah, but then if we just put it to the line. So here, you could. It's too easy to say.
from like the neighborhood.
This.
Yeah.
Are you like?
Or maybe the other one, I think it should see like
I made it. Yeah, with that.
I don't remember these ones.
You're being a problem child right now. I don't want to.
Yeah, I think that's like.
Wait, it's the one where like everything.
Why?
Oh.
No, that is so bad. Don't ever do that. You know what?
Wait, before or after?
Yeah,
After
you can do it.
No, I made them.
When you're rendering.
Mating them made them come attached because I had
Any other?
Something
Any
you
issues with
should
that?
never
That was a rather
try
simple
to-
step.
It's supposed to be coincident.
Oh, right. I remember that homework now.
Coincident. Right. Okay. So what you did is, I'm pretty sure you selected the phone. Clear selections. First one is this. Second one is this.
How long is
Oh, you have no, not the side face. That's there's one.
How long are these Classic, yeah, you did it. How do you think he remembers? How long the tubes are?
No. Oh, okay. So what you did is you fixed both.
Yeah, there's a measure.
I think it's 30 inches.
Okay, so you don't want to fix both of them.
Go to evaluate.
Okay, so because when you fix two, right, that's a constraint, and you're trying to fix something. You're trying to have two things that are fixed and then move them together. That's contradicting, right? So go ahead, hit this.
No, he just wanted to see what the dimension was. Yeah.
Boom. There you go. Okay, oops, I forgot. What did we forget to do? Yeah, we forgot to do something. Well, think about your pin slots. Does this make sense? Well, right now they're the opposite way, right? Because the pins don't go in the middle of the rocket, they go in the bottom of the rocket. Right, so the way you have it right now, you have the main tube connecting to the pin.
I'm totally on the side.
So we could do
It's impossible to
so-
stock up on it. Right.
That is.
They're called ponds.
I like these better.
and pin more.
Sounds dirty.
You want to flip it here, that's what.
Bodies.
That actual thing. Actually called
I disagree with every life choice you've made in your life.
Well, you made the same life choices too.
I mean, I didn't say I don't disagree with some of mine.
I have to back.
Okay,
Have
let's
those
do this one more time. So,
Let's call it a standing desk.
so you should have flipped it before, that was your main.
That way everybody can see you.
And then,
She's trying to present now, right?
Yep.
almost hard to select the correct shape. Especially with really thin. There we go. Okay, now your tube is perfect.
Sorry, I just like
See now the pin slots not
I just like where two faces meet.
Yes, edges are not corners. Corners are corners.
There are corners too. Are they where three faces meet?
Yes.
What about where four faces meet?
I think that's also a corner. I also think that's not possible.
What? Like a pyramid.
You're right. That's a corner.
What's next? Oh, this one. Okay. Yep. All right, we are finishing up with the main body of the rocket. We're going to be doing the nose cone now. Again, okay, so nose cone. It's gonna plug into the black one. And exercise for you guys. Go ahead and try it. We use the same thing we do for the other tubes that we just assembled. It should be the same. So let's see if you guys can figure it out in 10 minutes. If you can't, then I'll go ahead and give the solution. It's a lot of minutes.
Putting the nose cone on which end? Or
Well-
not the tail, but okay. That was self-explanatory.
Somehow.
Yeah.
So right now,
Those are the black ones.
actually hit the X right now. You're like.
Yeah, actually, it probably can't like this. This is the day.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow.
You need to consent to
How you gonna do that?
What? There's nothing there. Clay Thompson is paying a lot of money today.
I said like the inside services for consent.
Do you need to do rows?
It's only game one. And there's shitty teams. Memphis and Dallas. Memphis and Dallas. And go off of 40 and a quarter, like 80 for the game. They're like, what is that?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what up.
To the brow, fuck up to the brow. Hey, talking mad shit. You see that? It was talking mad shit. Hey, Jack, give him that tea.
I have a question. What did you do?
It's coincident, right? Yeah. No, it's not coincident, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like that they should not be opposite to each other.
Wait,
That might add to it.
did you do concentric first though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
Concentric and
one of
then-
them was just asking, like, oh, real rockets.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, okay.
We haven't done any mechanical.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, raise your hand if you have no idea what you're doing. Good.
What are we trying?
Later on, we might.
I did, was like listening into their conversation, so I made the nose cone and the black one concentric using this face and then the finger face. And then now I think we're supposed to make them coincident.
Oh, I mean, right now. Oh,
Oh, how do I? Shit. Okay, never mind, I'm starting over.
Oh, no, yeah, I know. That one.
So you probably right.
Yeah, that's what I did. And then you just like, make it yeah.
Oh.
So you just make
That works.
Where's my color?
Now you want to collect
They got fingers upside down. But how do I just?
So, will you check it out?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. You gotta get some colors and transparency.
How's everybody doing?
Wait, so I zoomed out or in. How do I find everything?
And then do the same thing with
Oh, that's the
oh yeah.
But like, it's there's no way to line it.
But like you have to actually know what it is. I don't know.
It's gotta be like a home button.
No, it's not. Well, you could do Concentric. The best way to do it is the larger. So you have to like here, right?
Oh no! I hate you.
Right, and that's what these things are. But like, if you actually want it, I don't know how to do it.
Oh, there we go.
That's like the best thing.
Aha.
But it should
We're
work.
back. I don't know how I did it.
Something to ability. Okay, does anybody not have it or I'm moving on?
You know, yeah, in the, I don't know how to do it. Yeah, change color. Yeah.
And then you want to do this coincident.
Go purple. That's the. Oh, it's good. And you know you did the nicknames. Yeah, I think I changed. Where did you go? I did nicknames.
Which is okay. So that's how we will show up. Like when you message me, people say.
You find at the bottom of the notes at the top of the line too, that's why it's not going all the way in. So, delete that. Yeah. You gotta think about this.
I have the same thing. Just how do you delete it?
You gotta go out of this menu, press the X, and then if you go under this, click the little arrow, you can see all the bits that you made. So just click on one of them, and it'll show you zoom out.
Bob, do you need help?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, you told me to change it for it.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that changes was the one. Let's see the
Sorry. Zoom out. See how.
Zoom out. Zoom in more, Robert. God.
So this concentric means that right here. Wait, yeah, right here. You see how these two are highlighted. That means these are the two that you selected, and you made them concentric.
There, Robert.
So it just shows you the different mates that you made.
Come on, there you go. Good.
I can be the.
That's why when I was helping out, I looked through it and I was like,
Excellent.
what happened here?
Oh, okay. Because you had coincident with these.
Good.
That's actually what you're supposed to do. You're
Yeah.
supposed to do coincident with this
Okay.
edge, but
Next to
the
this.
thing that Robert kind of messed up on is the very bottom one.
I had done that too, but I guess it's space. Space
Yeah, if you ever get some weird stuff going on, just go over here and delete.
My favorite color. Dude, I thought What's my colored space corn rock? You know what I don't like? I don't like this type of mix where it's or letter will buy you something. I hate this industry where it's
That works. Good job.
Well, the colored space corn rock. That is so wonderful.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We are going to be moving on. Okay, so now this is the motor tube. The last piece of tubing you have left is the motor tube, okay? We want to put 3 centering rings on it, which are this component. So if everybody's thing's loaded like mine did, you should not be able to move the centering ring, okay? If that's the case, just click on the centering ring, right click, and instead of fix, it just say float. Go ahead and click float, okay? That way you're going to be able to move it in free space. All right, but if yours can already move, then that means it wasn't the first one in the part. Okay, not an issue. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do another distance mate on this one. So first thing is first, we want to make sure it's concentric as usual. So same thing we've been doing all night. Go ahead and make these 2 concentric. We should do it automatically. Yay! Now 6 inches, right? Okay. We're going to take this, and we're going to distance mate it to the top at 6 inches again. Whoa. So it should look something like this, 6 inches apart. Okay. Yeah. 6 inches. That's it, right?
I mean, yes.
How do we make it unfixed?
Right click and you see how it says float.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's like floating, so it's kind of moving around everywhere.
Okay. And then concentric with this one.
Exactly. Also concentric and 6 inches from one end. And right now you're just in like select mode. You have to click them. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. And like you can kind of tell you're in the mate tool if like this menu pops up. You see mate right there. Centering ring. You have to do another mate. Exactly. And so you want like the distance of reference to what, right? This distance, right? Yeah. So you have to do this and this.
Okay, what part did you do right now?
Put the centering ring on the motor tube.
How am I doing this distance? Yeah, like 6 inches.
Yeah, did you do the motion?
No.
Alright, so basically we want to put the centering ring on.
Right click.
One of the
Like,
outside.
scroll up.
Or not that outside.
What?
You're not just seeing basically we're kind of doing the same thing as what we do.
Anyways.
And now instead of inner tube is like some outer thing. So you want to start this.
X.
That'll make
Hey,
it concentric.
you selected this body tube on accident. No. This one. No. You know what I mean. Thing, right?
Yes.
Zoom in. Oh, you got it. No, that's the wrong one. That's definitely the wrong one.
Just don't go there. You're good. Just don't go there. Okay, now, basically, we want the centering ring. So you want the distance. Yeah.
Anybody have questions?
Should I have like this distance?
Yeah, you should have a distance made of 6 inches from one of the ends.
You have edges. You want to select edges. You already have slowly concentric. Now you have edges.
But you're right, it's real practical applications that definitely matter. But I don't remember what I did. I just wanted to say on which one.
This one.
It's fine.
Oh, I didn't do bottom.
No, it doesn't seem to, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It just depends on what you're going to do later.
But
That's
you
not
start
any
because
bottom.
say 6 inches.
Yes, but I mean, at first,
No, it's very important.
did you get it?
Yeah.
But we want to yeah, it's because it moved it somewhere else. You
It doesn't really matter.
But we're gonna have to.
On the outside.
You're gonna have to let.
So go ahead and put
It's just like
And then eventually you'll need to.
It doesn't, yeah.
Hopefully it goes to not.
No, you don't want that to be disconnected.
Yeah.
Go ahead and hit concentric. That, because you want them to think about a lot, right? You want them to have the same center. It's the other stuff. It's this way, axial, distance. So hit OK first. You need to make another mate. That's what I'm saying. So top face. No, top face. X. 8. Top face. The ring. The outside of the ring.
This is really.
That's not the one. So you have to. So let me try to explain what you're trying to achieve, right? You want a distance in between this and this, right? So selecting this isn't going to help you get that distance, right? So you need to distance this face, this face to.
There you go.
So in this case, you just make it concentric, or congruous whatever you want to make it. Here's where your 6 comes.
I'm going.
Every time I look at
I know it's hard. I had a lot of trouble when I was learning it too, but just you have to really think about what the computer does. What you want it to do, right? So you just have to think about what you want. I understand. I understand.
Wait,
Okay.
he's.
And then you can do your
Wait, hold on. Okay. Okay.
Right now you are so it's 6. It's almost 10. But if you're meters, you type in 6. Not only that, but like if you hit 6, just gonna make the number. If you're really
Don't worry.
What is the time?
It's gonna be a thing.
Always type in.
Yeah, you can. It's not like they. You have like yours is this, like it's just in the right place.
You can always, how about?
That means you probably
Yeah.
What
faces do we use for this?
Wait, you see?
That is a very good question.
I don't know, I don't see this, the updates that
In this case, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but
Yeah, there you go. But in real engineering, it definitely matters. I just don't remember how I did it.
so have you got basically
So there, now you just do.
Well, like, how do you define?
Any other questions on this? Awesome. Okay, so we actually need 3 centering rings. Okay, so 5 inches apart. So one thing we could do is we could either mate another 2 using what we just did, or anybody have a better idea?
Like later on, something like that.
Right, that's correct. We're gonna go ahead and pattern this component, okay? Very easily, right? Next to your mate, you have a linear component pattern. That's what we're gonna be using, okay? There's also a bunch of different types of patterns, but we just want 3 in a line. So go ahead and hit linear component pattern. The first thing it's going to say is it wants a direction. Along what direction, or an axis or something, right? So in this case, we can just hit the outside face, okay, and that'll give it its direction. and we want 3 at 5 inches apart. All right. Right now, as you can see, there's nothing in the components pattern, so you need to go ahead and select your centering ring.
Make sure you click on the components to pattern box before you select the centering ring.
Right, or it'll fill in your direction 2.
And we don't have a direction 2 since we're just doing like a single line.
Yeah. Okay. So make sure you fill in the distance 5, 3 components. Okay. Components to pattern is just a centering ring, and you go ahead and click OK, and then boom, done for you. So you have nothing in your direction 2, okay? Shouldn't be anything in your direction 2.
Yes, there should be. Just always. Generally, in what systems you use, it's a
So you have like
a 2D square.
so if you're on a plane like this, you have this part, right? You want to pattern it this way as well as this way.
What happens if they're not? Okay, well, if you want like a 4x4, like you have to do 2 separate things.
What do you mean?
Like with
Like
this,
yeah.
with this result,
Like
it would just result
a grid.
in
If you did it, you could add a second direction.
you have to do
No. This is gonna this is gonna give you this.
Oh, that's what the second direction is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so what if you wanted to just
Just like,
Then you
just like
have to
this.
do it.
Just like this. Yeah, you have to.
You have to do 2 steps. Actually, there might be
A jank way to do it.
there might be some function
That's
that's
like obscure as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know everything about SolidWorks, but if I had to do that, I would just because if you want them independent anyways, chances are you don't need them to be the same distance. So you actually do want them to pattern, so you can adjust them independently. Okay, is everybody good? Everybody get the centering rings? Anybody not get them? Okay. I got it. Or there's 2. One. Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So yeah, so remember what we did with the bottom. Basically, we selected like sort of based on right, and we distance made it. So
Okay, so if you guys are having issues with the centering ring going the other direction, so essentially it patterns this way where you have the things coming out of the tube, you can go ahead and hit this button right here. That'll flip the direction that it's patterning. Okay, so you can hit that. All right, is everybody good with this? Anybody have not good with this? Awesome. Just go ahead and hit OK. All right, we're almost done. 2 more components. So we have this bulkhead here. It looks the thicker centering ring. Okay, this is going to go inside of the motor tube. It's going to go inside the side with the closer centering ring. Just look. So it's literally the same thing we've been doing all night. And that's a lot of assembling, is just doing repetitive things. You just need to know when to change it up. Okay, so made it concentric, and then I'm just going to make the top face coincident with the top face here. And I'm done. Okay, so it should be simple. Go ahead, everybody, go ahead and do that.
yeah, so we want to first start off by making the ground closest to each other. Kind of like how we did with the other tubes and the rock tube. Leave it at right? And then you want to do the side rock. So then you just do no, first one was 6 inches from pattern, the other one from pattern.
Are you saying this?
Oh, wait, did you change my tube color?
No, you did. Well, I did it.
Don't touch your computer.
Maybe I
Yeah, what's
should.
up?
I don't mind, but like that's weird.
Okay, wait.
Okay, it's better anyway.
So it's concentric meeting again?
Yeah, no, I've
Okay,
been.
cool. I think I can this
Anybody not there yet? Okay, then I'm moving on.
Everyone good?
Okay, sweet.
How come it's like not?
Oh my god, it would be wrong.
It was just transparent. That's why it looks fun.
Is it just concentric or are we also doing coincident to get the ends to line?
Yeah, it's gonna be concentric, and then you want to make it coincident so that it's like flush with the ends of the two. Cool.
Okay, now,
Come on.
Alright. Dude, we're gonna have all the combinations of P, L, O, and R that sound like lava. Or lava. Belt. Well.
Chamfer?
Should be doing any like real. I don't know.
Well, I mean, a weld.
Well, yeah, well beat, but not like a whole straight pressure ball. That's what I don't even know if that's safe anymore. In Korea, it doesn't.
Oh, you can't read it? You can't figure it out.
Okay, moving on. So now we want to go ahead and install the motor tube inside of the main tube that has the slits on it, okay, with the motor bulkhead being at the aft end, okay? So once again, all we're doing, we're taking tubes, making them concentric, and then coincident, like literally all things. And boom, done. Okay, so take another like 10 seconds to do that.
wait, is it supposed to be which side of the? Which side is
Wait.
Like, is it supposed to be the short side? Or
No, it does because the fins are gonna get in the way.
Oh,
I did this wrong, everybody.
not so easy now.
Not so easy.
You just have to reverse it.
Maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'm giving you 10 seconds to fix this shit.
Fair enough. Whoever said that, I approve.
Good shit. Call him out.
So you need the 6-inch. Oh man.
You're gonna have to change so many things. Sucker. Wait, let me make sure.
Let's see. Do I?
Uh.
Okay, nope. Just do it like that. I will tell you what I did wrong later.
Yeah, and what Shane did for it.
I don't actually know how I made that mistake.
Where are we concentrically made? Where are we coincidentally made?
I think we just
You're coincidentally making it so that
Wait, we haven't used this. Okay, wait. On Oh, okay. So just these two.
Right.
Why don't you just choose C what I did?
Yeah, that's what you basically, this should be
Which end is which? The one with the bulkhead sticking out? Okay. Yeah, it sticks out the bottom.
That's what it's true. Or you could, but then you have to change this. You have to flip this around and then.
You could just flip the bulkhead, Ilyas. You could just flip the bulkhead.
But then you have to flip it.
Yeah. But that's easier than moving the center. Just do it the way I did. So sorry. I made a mistake. Who's confused?
If you're looking for
You're not flipping anything. Just you just want the whole pit to be aligned, but just doing it right, yeah, you can align. This one, like that, and like and right, but then you can the whole pit should be here. Yeah, that's not what I messed up. The centering rings are gonna get in the I've done that anyway. When I did this, right? Yeah, just say we kept the centering rings together to avoid there, which I don't know why.
I just have to like you right so you just have to do that all the time.
Dude, it smells so good. And
probably not good.
I got an air.
No, it smells great. Oh my god, so good. Not quite as great as plywood.
yeah, it smells a little too. Yeah.
This is what we have to do.
But like,
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah. Actually, can you turn, rotate so I can see into it? Yeah. So
we do that right.
basically the same thing happened with you that happened with
Anybody not get this?
This may.
the entire thing should be.
And
And the reason for that is well, I mean, fixing it's going to be kind of annoying. Because you have to move this to the other end, and then you have to remake it. I mean, like you could.
So can it just delete the very last thing it did?
And final one,
And then yeah, see
And then
over.
just take this side with this side.
True, dude.
Probably, but the thing is, this bulkhead is supposed to be on the outer end,
True.
so you're gonna have to move the bulkhead to the other end of the motor, and then it's like you'd have to go 2 mates back, right? Actually, wait, hold up. No, yours is fine. I like yours is good. Yours is good.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I do make this.
Yeah, you do make that. Basically, what he did was he had the bulkhead on the other side. So when he called this thing. It's not really a bulkhead. It's not really a
Okay.
bulkhead.
We are moving on.
But he had it on the other side. So when it made it, like the entire thing was falling out, and that means like the centers are gonna get in the way. It's like whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, everybody. This is the hard part.
Harder part.
Yes, harder part. The hardest part is orienting yourself, or orienting the fin. Okay. So we have 4 fins that we need to install. Okay, we're not going to install all 4 of them. Instead, we're going to assemble one and then circular pattern the other 3. Okay, so
I think you might not. I think you're choosing this.
so everybody probably want to see this just because like it's kind of hard to tell what part of the fin is what feature. Okay. Yeah. It's confusing. Okay, so you have this small little thing here. That's God. So this is your tube. I'm gonna move that. Okay. That's what the fin should look like. So this is gonna be the bottom. This is the left. Okay. This is the right, and then this is the top. So top, bottom.
Which one is the tiny one?
Top, left. It's how you would just yeah. Okay. So I'll be referring it to it like this.
Wait. The shortest side is the top of the right here.
Top. Shortest side is the top. Yeah, that should be enough. All right. So we're gonna take the bottom. Okay.
Wait, do the coincident.
And we want to make it coincident to the bottom of the tubing. So So we're gonna go ahead and do that. It's gonna say coincident, which is great. All right. I'll hold on for a second, but yeah, it looks really funky, especially the fact that it's flipped. So you want to flip that. Boom.
Yeah, just change the face.
Okay, so you should look something like this.
What are we making coincident?
You're making the bottom part of the fin coincident with the bottom part of your tubing. Okay, and you might run into the problem where it's flipped. So just make sure that when you finish the mate that it's pointed, the top is pointed in the correct direction relative to the tubing. I know there's going to be a lot of questions, so I'll go in order. Who doesn't understand? Anybody? Okay. Huh?
I feel like you jinxed it because it be shorter.
It is right.
Yeah. Oh, that's right on there.
Oh my god, I can do it.
Now I don't know what you just did. This is why I hate you. Now he's behind it. I don't know what you just did. I'm supposed to pay attention. So I don't get it. Actually, I'm gonna figure out what he just did.
I think it is.
Oh, I see what he did. I see what he did. Okay, basically, he took the back edge of the fin, and then the back face of the fin.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Almost. Your
No,
this
that's
really tiny part at the top, right? Or is that just your orientation?
yeah. So,
Yeah, I think you're 90 degrees off.
right, and then go to the back of the rock.
So I think we
Like this part of one is like at the top of it.
And basically select one of the back faces on the rock. And make it one.
yeah, so it's that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did like.
Yo, Tishar, all you did was do coincident with the back fin and the back socket.
Yeah, I think
Bottom,
you're
yeah, bottom, yeah.
Yeah, back of the fin. Bottom of the fin, back of the rock.
That one.
Wait.
Should we put it in the slot?
Sometimes it's kind of confusing.
Bottom of the fin, back of the rock.
Okay, is everybody here?
I think that's based off what you drew right there.
That's not what I thought you meant when you said bottom. I guess that's why you know
Yeah.
the bottom. The bottom. I mean, that's what I told you. When you said
Which page?
Oh,
I you probably want to pick.
Wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I've seen where they're doing the like to put the vision like just do a couple of sentences.
No.
Yeah.
It's weird. The reason why it's weird is because
I'm not, you can't really tell just by looking at it. I need to.
wait, how just tell me?
Okay, so you made it.
No.
Okay, so that's the correct one on the fin. No.
Wait a second.
Not that's the one.
You're missing it too.
Yeah, see now you got it.
Yeah, this is the one.
You want it to be in line with this part, right? So you want to select this part. You can select this part. Right? So you want it to be this part.
Yeah. You could try to
Now,
see
you
what
need
I'm
to
gonna
make
do.
sure that
So yeah, make
top
that
is not
and
pointing
then.
down.
You have a rectangular face and a cylindrical face, and like tangent means literally. It could be tangent like this, or it could be like tangent like that.
Well, yeah, but you do
Yeah, but it's just
Okay, is everybody here? We have like 3 more steps, okay?
It does, but it's weird. Just do what you trust. No, we haven't done that yet. All he's done was taken the bottom face of the fin and the bottom face of the rocket and done a coincident make on that. That's all he did.
Okay, I can help whoever.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need like 10 minutes together.
So, we're actually not.
How's everybody doing? Can I continue?
So, the bottom of it.
Alright, I guess I'm waiting another minute.
Exactly. So he's just like making sure the level is way. Just flip it around. Yeah.
Yeah, the bottom.
I just feel like
Also, we're not using any more quesadilla chicken today. We can use like grilled chicken. It's not that bad.
It's pretty bad. I'd rather just not use any chicken.
Why don't, if you put it in the oven, it's not bad.
It's like really fatty. You know what I mean?
I feel like it tastes that way if you only do it in the microwave.
Same. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Alright, so next we are going to make one of the big faces, okay, to the side of the slit, okay? Okay. Does that make sense? Alright. What type of mate? Coincident
He
mate.
made it the side of the slit to the side of the face.
Yep. And again, it may be flipped, so you need to make sure you align it so that it looks, the top of it is going to go inside of the slit, okay?
It's reasons. Basically, but it works.
Did you fix it?
Honestly, that might just be easier. But
What's for your face to me?
Parallel.
Alright, I'll
Bottom edge, parallel, flat edge, and then bottom edge,
line these two up, and that's it. But this is upside down, so all you need is
along with the twins.
wrong way.
I don't know if we want to do that.
Yeah.
If we want to change that up, but
I mean, that's the same amount of mates that I'm doing. Even.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I thought.
I think.
That I don't.
No, I think it's just like a warning saying like, hey, I
The
flipped
coincident on the other side. So so you know how I just made it one side to the side of the slit? I don't think I need to do the other side.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not gonna yeah. Because I just wanted to make sure that it worked.
Oh, I thought you were doing. Oh, never mind. I thought you were doing.
You don't want to have it.
Then you did what Jacob did.
Oh, yeah.
Or Jacob did what you did.
Yeah. No, I realized the plan is dumb.
The plane thing is
The plan is really bad.
Plane is really bad. What you have.
Everybody there? Anybody not there? Okay.
But like it's add an unnecessary, slightly complicated step.
Very unnecessary.
To be tangent and tangent in the right place, right? Because it can be tangent anywhere. Yeah, you can make it tangent. You have to make it tangent to where the slot is. So it's a pain in the ass.
I'm not very good.
So that you like select the and then second reference like
Change the game.
and then you would make that flip it around perpendicular. No, it doesn't. You wouldn't do that. Oh, like literally crap.
Yeah. I mean, that's There, no, yeah, here we go. Here.
Or actually, no.
Play your own. Play your own. Fantasy.
I don't know. I didn't plan this. You actually might have to have this like the top, front, and right.
Oh wow, this is beautiful.
It just makes me more It's your second round. So are you gonna do something? AKA one of the world claims. It's like the top one in the world.
This is so bad. This is actually horrible.
Because if you change your world, you
Oh my god.
then.
Okay, here's something I genuinely not understand.
Wait, what else have you done
So I swear.
after just the two? That one incident.
Yeah.
Then I did the side to the
Side of swap.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's up?
What do I connect?
Who else needs help for
I
this?
don't understand.
So you have that side, and then you want to connect it to the side. You want to connect the side. You want to remind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's coincidence, right? So now, basically, you go this one here. You see it's lined up on the swap. So I think you accidentally had the motor tube selected or something. You had some cylinder face selected instead. Yeah. What's up? No, because we already did that. Or well, you should have already. I didn't delete it. No, you already have it. See, you already. Actually, let me double check. Is your wait, I can check. Yeah.
If you use it kind of like it flows, like you say after all the time, then it's like
Yeah.
save out. So they're pretty
Look what they're doing, Robert.
but they don't really care. As long as it's like you're logical, you're not using all
Yeah, so I'm just gonna watch it. Promise my dad. You
want to make it so this side is lined up.
When we go back to the rent, did you hear those people that were swearing? Because these people don't want like, what is yeah, we're just like we're positioning
All right, are we good here? Awesome. 2 more steps. All right, this one's really easy though. So, no, this one is easier than everything we've been doing. I promise. So everybody's tube and fin should look something like this. You should be able to move this direction, but no other. So fix this. You move it this direction, should be able to move like that. Okay, but there should be no other degree of freedom. Okay, so that's what it should look like. You can go ahead and hit mate, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna select the left of the fin, and we're gonna just touch the outside cylindrical face of the motor tube. It should automatically go to tangent, and you should be able to press OK. And that's it. That's all you should have to be doing.
Listen, I thought he was doing something else. Okay. Turns out he changed the plan without, because he figured out a better way to do it.
I thought that was. Okay, so that one is easier than the ones we've been doing. Anybody having trouble with that? It should all be auto. You shouldn't have to click tangent or anything, but if you do, yeah, just make sure you hit tangent.
It was the left with what part?
The left with the motor. Yeah, this side.
Hey, Grant just said to kick my ass.
Huh? Who did?
Grant.
Oh, wow.
You can even kick my
What did
ass.
we? Coincident or tangent?
Tangent.
Okay.
And yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, okay, so you want to get first of all, it's about, yes. This side of the
Hell yeah.
Huh. There's a low rotational factor. I mean, I don't really do. Yeah.
It's a better idea.
All right, are we good here? Any issues with that step? Anybody need any help? Okay, sweet guys. So we just have one more step left, and we need to make 4 fins. So everybody just do the same thing 3 more times.
Not what?
Not.
It's a terrible idea.
Okay, so we did linear component pattern earlier. Go ahead and click beneath that. You'll see the next one is called circular component pattern. Okay. This time the parameter needs to be something cylindrical, so we can go ahead and I think we can just hit this face. Okay, we need 4 of them at equal spacing, and the component we want to pattern is the fin. And boom, preview, done, hit OK.
Yep. There's cylindrical pattern.
Yeah, it's just a circular pattern instead of a linear pattern. Make sure you hit equal spacing. You don't actually have to touch that. You can just hit equal spacing.
And then parameters.
I don't know how.
What are we rotating? Yep. So you want to select something that we're rotating. Yep. And equal space. Yeah. Basically, I don't really.
Oh yeah, your tubes are
That's basically like over how many.
No, they're not. Good. The top. They're connect. They're sheet.
Okay, fine. What? I don't know what that was.
Oh, where's your coupler tube? Oh, it's
Okay.
See, it's supposed to be like out.
Like it's so weird.
Because what I did is I was out halfway and so I put the other one halfway.
Right. So like you need to do this. Okay, we're gonna leave it because it's gonna mess it. But yeah,
Possibly. There's probably.
But that's okay. Son. Yeah. So the only thing was that these are supposed to be like they're just supposed to be touching, not like overlapping. Yeah. And yeah. So this is my main tube. This is my coupler halfway. And then my pieces. Well, see, yours are yours are overlapping. Mine are just.
Why do you not stop? I thought so. I just
Oh no, the slits are for the fins.
Yeah, but there was slits on both sides.
Wait, no, there weren't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
That's slits. Yeah, that's slits, right?
Oh, you?
Did she get the same tube
like,
twice?
No, something's overlapped here.
Yeah.
I definitely have a slit from the beginning.
Wait, I mean here, we can just try it. Just hide that. Yeah, hide it. No, yep.
Okay, yeah, so unhide that, something's on here.
Well, I mean, yeah, her entire coupler tube is inside of her main tube, her wood slit. I don't know how that happened.
Wait, no.
Yeah, it is.
Look, the coupler's half of that.
I'm pretty sure. Wait, what?
Yeah, the coupler's half of that. That's not that. It's
Oh.
here. Let me unhide it.
Wait, but I swear I just hit the other tube. It wasn't.
No, definitely.
It's definitely happened everywhere I like check that.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
No, it's because.
Oh yeah, see, so it is all the way inside here. That's also
It's,
inside.
yeah, these two things are overlapping each
Yeah.
other. So let me figure out what to make this.
I tried. It's not gonna fix. It'll. I think there was a couple that went away. Is everybody done with that? Anybody not done? Okay, well, everybody, this concludes SolidWorks training session number 2. Thank you guys for coming. Hope you guys learned something. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, you guys are free to go. Thank you for spending Friday night with me.
Time for a 5 million gigabyte